Hello. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining with us in the afternoon of the third day of WebSummit Rio. Thank you also for the introduction. So we, as panelists, were speaking backstage and decided that we would start with something to hopefully wake the audience up after a lunch. And so I'll start with this. How many people here, just give me a raise of hands, who here is in either the financial services industry or works for a fintech? So just give me a show of hands. Okay, absolutely fantastic. My question to start our panelists off, which jobs in the financial industry, who here is going to be out of a job first with the coming of AI?
Well, I think, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here, guys. I'm from Rio de Janeiro, so it's in my backyard, this amazing event. So thanks a lot for me. Also, our company, Zoop, is founded and it's from Rio de Janeiro. So Zoop, for those of you that doesn't know, is a fintech as a service platform. What we do, it's like bank as a service, payment as a service, and credit as a service. So we are very much excited in talking about this intersection between AI and fintech. But in the end of the day, the question is, who is not going to be impacted by AI, right? Because everyone that is dealing with a huge amount of data, and not only in the financial sector, but also the health sector and any other sector are going to be somehow impacted. So none of us are going to be without a job, but at the same time, the amazing impact that the AI is going to have in our database, our day-to-day system is going to be amazing. So I'm very, very excited. I'm going to be talking about what we're going to be doing, or we are doing at Zoop, but then Trisha could also add something.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Trisha. I'm one of the founders and the CEO of Unit 21. We are an anti-fraud, anti-money laundering software company, and we work with a lot of fintechs, banks, payment companies. My answer to this question is the person who has the safest job is going to be the fraudster, because the fraudster is going to be using all of the tools available to them, ChatGPT, deepfake technology, in order to conduct more and more creative fraud schemes. So that's something that I think is going to be really important. AI is going to enable a lot of people, but also enable a lot of bad actors.
Hi everyone, my name is Pedro. So our Banco do Brasil has 214 years, and we saw a lot of revolutions coming. Jobs created, jobs destroyed, but in my humble opinion, when we talk about financial services, I don't know if you know, but the most common jobs in Brazil 2 decades ago was called typist or data entry clerk. And the majority of these jobs were reskilled, upskilled for software programmer. So I don't really believe that the majority of jobs in financial sector will be destroyed, but will be reskilled or upskilled, as we saw several times in the last decades. So for instance, the sales-oriented jobs, in my opinion, will never end, because sales activities are very relationship job related. So you see that I really don't believe that the majority of jobs will be destroyed, but reskilled or upskilled.
So this is great, because this means that we actually have a pretty wide range of thought processes here of how AI is going to impact all of us. And so maybe we'll take a step back as well, because there's been a whole lot of talk about AI and how hot it is right now. OpenAI is valued at around, I believe, like $27 to $30 billion, an insane number when we're looking at it. But to be fair, AI's been around for a while. Everyone's been using it. It's in the background. We just don't know that it's there. And so I'll start with you, Pedro. You are running, like you mentioned earlier, you are the Chief Digital Officer of a bank, of the second largest bank in Latin America. And so what you guys are doing is clearly does have a whole lot of range. So can you tell me a little more about how you guys are currently using AI in the background?
Okay. Are you asking about our experience in Banco do Brasil implementing AI initiatives? Yeah? Okay. Yeah. We have been working with AI over the last 10 years. We started our journey 2013, working around 3 main priorities. The first one, cybersecurity and fraud detection. The second, customer service and customer insights. And the third, obviously, internal process automation. So our three main priorities are these. We established a center of excellence in our IT department, led by my friend Rodrigo Molinari, our technology director, and which allowed us to develop in a more decentralized way a lot of AI applications across several divisions, products, services, and processes in Banco do Brasil. We started with anti-fraud systems. We analyzed more than 214 million transactions per day, our system analysis. And we are very focused on improve customer experience, but also improve our operational efficiency too.
Great. And Trisha, would love to hear how you guys are doing it, because to your point, right, fraud is this thing that is constantly evolving. I think all of us have been impacted in one way or the other, or our grandparents have had a mysterious phone call from one of their grandkids. And so how is AI being used within your system to really solve that issue?
Yeah, because AI is being used by fraudsters, it's really important that as an industry in fintech, payments, banking, we leverage AI. And really the question is, okay, how can we leverage AI effectively? The machine learning models are going to be as good as the quality of data. And so a big focus for us is how can we get more useful data so that if we are evaluating a Pix payment, we don't just look at that particular transaction, but look at the entire life cycle of the user before. And that's really where we think that the next step for AI is going to be in useful data collection.
Yeah, I think, well, AI has been around for a while, like Pedro was saying, right? So I think in the last decade, the financial service and the financial system as a whole has been implemented somehow AI, right? You have the most obvious use case, which is fraud prevention. It's going to be some efficiency in your back office. It's going to be automation. So usually we are talking about this, this main use case. I think, and that's fine. What I'm really interested is how AI is going to really leapfrog and change the whole system. So in a way that this is something what I call a digital AI cash, which is replacing completely the credit cards and the cash in the system by an AI-based algorithm. So that means that instead of taking your wallet or your credit card, you would be using your behavior consumer in order to get things or to pay for things. So I think that will be transformative. That will be that, change completely. And then we're going to get to the cashless society that we're always talking about, right? Because I think what we've seen in the last decade with AI is not going to be even 1% what we're going to be seeing in the next 10 years. So this AI, digital AI cash is going to revolutionize the system. And that's what I believe. I believe in, the use of AI for not only automation, but also to change the way we pay and get paid. So that's my 1 cent.
Yeah, a true futurist. So this actually brings me to my next question, because we've been talking about AI. It's sexy, but not as sexy as generative AI apparently has been in the last couple of months. And generative AI in fintech in particular is a really interesting topic, because we've not really seen the big outcomes that we've seen in some other industries like media, right? Or we're not creating characters out of anything. We're not changing the faces of our actors, because we have no actors in financial services. When you're taking a look at your respective focuses in this arena, where do you think generative AI has an application, and where are the limitations?
Yeah, I can kick it off. So generative AI is being used by fraudsters today, and we've already seen that in the last few months. The scams, the creativity with which people are getting social engineered is insane. So a lot of people might have received a Nigerian prince email, that's the quintessential scam, but that's a thing of the past. Spelling mistakes or really standard methods of getting money is completely over. And so now people are using much more believable emails that they're sending to companies or to individuals in order to conduct elaborate and creative scams. So really where we think of using generative AI is how can we identify if an individual has been scammed when they've logged in and created an account with their own credentials when they are initiating the payment. And so where we're not necessarily using generative AI, but regular standard AI methods, is in getting the data and pulling that holistic user profile to see, okay, is this user paying somebody a really large sum of money who they've never paid before, and things like that. Where we're using generative AI is in the operations. So fraud operations is a whole world where you have to take notes and you have to send reports to the government, and all of the writing in that can be really condensed and amplified via generative AI.
Well, I think in general we're going to have the natural language processing as a whole, and generative AI is going to have a role for financial services and products. But in the end of the day, we are in a very regulated environment, so generative AI has that type of limitation, right? Because privacy is one thing. You're not going to have a lot of credit card data inside ChatGPT, right? Even for companies like us, we have a bunch of software developers. You're not going to be putting your code there. You need, I don't know, a co-pilot from GitHub or some source, some type of that in terms of tools. So I think when it comes to data privacy and when it comes to more specialized type of system, generative AI is not the way to go. But at the same time, when it comes to customer services and other pieces of the financial service, I think you're going to be using generative AI a lot. So it depends on the way that you're going to be using. But for me, the most important limitation nowadays is more about privacy and more about how we're going to be training that type of system.
Yeah. CB Insights released a report last week that showed money flowing to startups using generative AI, and the most investments are flowing to human-machine interface, especially conversational interface. And two reasons why, in my humble opinion, generative AI is grabbing such attention. The first one, we humans have a tendency called anthropomorphism. We see humans in clouds, in animals, in objects. We try to seek our faces in every object. And generative AI seems like a human speaking. So it's one reason. And the second reason, because different than other emerging technologies like blockchain, cloud, edge, 5G, AI is one of the few that really save our time. So, and the time is the most current resource that we have. So, grabbing AI for our reality, our quotidian, we can save some time to apply in other aspects. Two limitations very important to generative AI. One, the level of explainability, because how you track. And the second is the level of accountability. I said earlier, because software cannot be arrested, yeah? So you have to be someone responsible for the outcomes of some model. But I reckon, Lucinda, reinforcement learning models are another very important model in AI. So generative AI is very important, but reinforcement learning model is very important too.
Yeah, just want to add one thing. I think I love that use case that Greg was showing during the Greg from OpenAI was showing during the last TED Talk, which is, using ChatGPT with a plugin from Instacart. So you're able to, he was preparing a meal for a post-event dinner. So he asked the ChatGPT to prepare, to put all the ingredients. In the end, you had that basket in Instacart already filled up with all the ingredients for that meal, which is amazing. I think, commerce is going to go to that direction. So if you look at commerce AI, I believe that that's the type of use case that we need to check.
So all of this is really fascinating because, to me, Trisha's point that fraudsters are using generative AI and we will need some level of really high-level AI to combat that seems true. But at the same time, there's a data privacy issue that we're all alluding to as well, and the fact that if you're a smaller company, you really need a lot of data to be able to tell, is this fraud reliably? Because if you accidentally flag someone as fraud and they are not, that it could be an issue of discrimination, which brings up that issue of accountability, right, that we're bringing up. And so is there some in between, right? Because it does feel like we need to wrap all these issues together. It's not just we don't use generative AI for some things, right? Is it regulation? Is it cooperation between companies? What is the answer here? Do we have an answer here?
I have two answers that I think could potentially be interesting. One is a consortium. The best processes are incredibly coordinated, and it's really important that as an industry we get coordinated. That also helps us build fidelity in the data, that is this actually, are many people claiming that this individual is fraudulent. The second is the human has to be in the equation. A lot of people have asked us that, do you think fraud operations teams that are reviewing fraudulent alerts, are they going to cease to exist? And there has to be a human in the loop because these fraudsters are very creative and the AI is going to be as limited as the past model it was trained on. So it's really important to still preserve our human intelligence and have a human in the loop.
Yeah, in my opinion, the best cooperation will be between companies that have software useful for our daily lives with AI software. The most astonishing thing, for instance, of Microsoft buying OpenAI is because it will be very easier to make a presentation, a good spreadsheet, document, or email. So this kind of cooperation will be very, very interesting because it will save us time. So in my opinion, this is a great example of cooperation between software and AI.
Yeah, well, bias and discrimination in AI has been a pretty hot topic, and I think we need to put a lot of attention there because we tend to, do things in AI-powered algorithms that we can say, well, this is an AI, right? This is because of the AI. So you blame someone else. So I think you're going to be seeing a lot of discussions around bias and discrimination, especially for lending, especially for use case that you cannot blame anyone instead of someone behind the algorithm. So that is a sensitive case. There's no single right answer, wrong answer, but we need to discuss for sure.
Right. It's one of those things where I think we're going to continually debate because even right now, we're not entirely sure what the end shape of this AI model is going to look like within the financial services industry. So I'm glad that we're having this catch up now. That said, we are unfortunately out of time. Thank you so much for wonderful panelists for being here and all of you for sticking around.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.